I already feel like we're phoning this one in. I've been half asleep for the last 25 minutes.
Last you go in a southern softy, Alex. Last 25 minutes.
Yeah, that started a long time ago, unfortunately. Like falafel. Mike isn't even here yet. Speaking of southern softies.
Southern softies, yeah. This is a record. Here he is.
Mike's usually the keen one. Mike's usually the one that's already here bright and early.
Okay. I'm the one that usually has to sit there listening to you, whatever you're doing, not knowing you're on.
Usually having a wee.
Has been known.
It's yeah, we're phoning it in. I was saying to Sam, Mike, I think we're phoning it in a little bit today. I was falling asleep watching Transformers Dark Side of the Moon, and Bruce isn't here either, but that doesn't matter because he didn't get to the game because he's a bit of a part-timer, you see.
Yeah, it's amazing how much time we can actually kill, isn't it? By letting Bruce let us talk about where he parked the car, where he went for his first pint, what the best way to the ground was.
I went proper corporate in a way. I just did what the travel guide said and just say park at this place and get a park and ride in. So I did that, and I went and had a drink in the fan zone. Didn't like the beer, and yeah, it was all right. There we go. Then in.
I saw you.
We have to talk about this because that was not a flattering image. I mean, there are very few images that are, but I knew my hair was receding and I knew I had a little bit of a bald spot, but that was something else.
I know whose scalp that is. That's Alex.
Did you not notice I put my hat on after that?
No, because I didn't see you again, but I did. As soon as I sent it, I said hello, and I thought that might not be him. That might be really offensive. I was like,
it's offensive. It's offensive, but apparently I've got to make a decision at some point soon.
You get a cheap one to Turkey or not? Yeah.
Pardon?
Get a cheap flight to Turkey, is it?
Yeah. I don't know. Do I want the teeth or the hair? I'm not sure.
Oh, get them both. You not get a job lot?
Yeah, well, I don't know. You could do.
Isn't it like 2 for $5?
Tom left unceremoniously, Grimsby. He didn't want to do it anymore, which was a shame. But there we go. He left. That was it.
This week.
Then we got Sam in.
I miss his floodlight analysis.
Oh, I didn't like the floodlights yesterday. The sponsor boards were actually brighter than the floodlights, which was a very interesting mix.
The Quorn sponsorship boards, yeah, they were really bright.
The delusions of grandeur is what I can only say about it all. As we stood on a 3-step terrace, praying it doesn't rain.
Can I just say I'm quite off-put by the fact Sam has good lighting, he has headphones, and he has a microphone, and he isn't delayed. This is really off-putting.
I know. It's slightly embarrassing. I do you know what, Mike? I had the microphone that I'm going to give you in the car yesterday, just on the off chance. You know, you never know. You might have.
You just see me on the side of like the road or something.
And just you might have been there.
No, I've got MK Dons and Oxford penciled in that week, so that's my 2. I think that I can get to this month.
Evening forum. I don't know, gents, ladies. Evening Ben.
Do you want to see something funny, right? So my wife has had to buy a light for work, like for her. This is her office desk. Do you want to see how bright this light is? You ready?
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
That's blinding.
Wow. That was like sleep deprivation lights.
It's a good job
we're going to come around and interrogate you in the morning.
It's a good job we don't live anywhere near Heathrow's a flight path, isn't it?
General Noriega. No, but you live near Gatwick's, don't you?
No, I live quite close to Heathrow. Just around the M25.
I don't know. This is going to be an interesting one, actually. I don't know. I'd be very interested in what other people have to say, because I'm not sure where I am with it all. Should we? Andrew, people are complaining about the commentary. Was it bad?
Yes. Oh, it was terrible. Green got, we'll get into
Green got hammered, did he?
He spent 5. Now, let's just be fair. It's a difficult job when you don't watch us all the time, so don't want to be too harsh. But he spent 5 minutes telling us Green had just been taken off, and then 10 minutes telling us Green was doing fantastic, and then he had a shot on goal. I tell you, he's doing really well from the bench.
Well, we had there's quite a lot of confusion about the second goal scorer for us, because we had the guy behind us, Sam, didn't we? Who was doing Sky Sports, the goalkeeper who kept coming back from Sky Sports News, and I did make sure to swear quite loudly every time I could hear him muttering away into the camera. But he said Rose scored. Foot Mob said Pike scored. Somebody else said Holohan had scored, and then the club said Wilson scored.
I said I say Holohan scored.
It looks quite conclusive. Apparently, Holohan's not even trying to claim it. Wilson was saying, and Wilson's claimed it, and everybody seems to be going with that. But I think Pike's just trying to claim it hit his shin pad, but I don't think anybody's having it.
And Anthony Elding job.
Joe's saying when Tonda is missing, there's only one Scott Woodford for the job. I reckon Scott is currently buried in Christmas Radio Times work, and is not doing anything else. But he's usually York bound nowadays, isn't he? But it's
not doing his job. He just loves the Radio Times. It's his thing.
Yeah, just the crosswords and stuff.
Yeah.
I hope Tonda's away. All right. I don't. I hope he just didn't want to go to Forest Green, and there's nothing else untoward about it. So
he got back. He got back after his bedtime, so I couldn't go yesterday.
You can talk.
I think with Tonda though, in it one of those journeys that is really far, and now the BBC sort of try and use local people for journeys that far, and you lose the connection because you're using somebody that doesn't watch town very often.
Yeah, those BBC cuts are biting.
Sam, whose dissertation I believe was called "How to Defund and Deregulate the BBC," as all sane people do.
It wasn't actually on that. It was about impartiality, but and the conclusion. At the conclusion, I didn't pass an opinion one way or the other about whether the BBC should get rid of the licence fee. Anyway, apparently, because the other thing that was a bit funny about the commentary was they said that apparently they reckon there were only about 140 town fans there. Was the
Well, I thought there was more than. I think it's been confirmed as 441 that were there yesterday.
That's a decent turnout, given how far away it is from practically everywhere.
I thought it was more, though. It's that whole side, isn't it?
I'm full of coal, sorry.
It looked a decent number on everything I've seen, but I might stay up late tonight and count them for you. And then
the only thing I will say is that I will prescribe to Bruce's usual query. It was a bit lackluster, and can I say something controversial as well?
You never.
No, I know. I don't think the Mariners chant does us any favors. Like when it's full blown and you got 6,000 chanting it and screaming it, but when it's like 30, 40 people, it just sounds
all off time.
Yeah. It sounds as lackluster as a Paul Linwood trackback. Yeah.
We had nothing to bounce off yesterday, though, didn't we? It's not like we're getting stick from the Forest Green fans that we could sort of like get into a bit of kind of banter with or anything.
Yeah, they did have a drum though. They had a drum in that, and they had it in like an ultra style scaffolding where the drum was at the top of it. He was at least 3 foot off the ground compared to the rest of people.
Well, what do you expect? Plant-based pastry just flying at you or something? It's hardly very Fenerbahce, is it? But I mean, I'll be honest. You've got that uncovered terrace. The weather was crap, and it's an uncovered terrace.
It's raining, thankfully, though. I was terrified. I thought we were going to have a Bromley situation, but we seem to avoid it.
Yeah, I wasn't that surprised. Those sorts of games, everyone's like just trying to stay warm and stuff. But it was warm in the chalet.
I can imagine it's a lovely temperature down in Bordeaux at the moment.
Yeah. I do hope they go down and we don't, though. Then I'd have to go there again next season.
I've just ticked it off the list, mate. That's all I needed to do, and I'm done with it now.
I've been before. I shan't be in a hurry to go back.
And that's the review of the Forest Green game. Shall we roll beat? Yeah.
Is Oxford still at the Kassam Stadium?
Oh yeah, It's about 15 miles outside Oxford or something daft.
That's the thing. So I'm doing MK Dons and Oxford. That's the thing. Like I can't even tick either of those off. You know, I've been to them before. So
There you go. You come to Newport with me. I'm going to do a weird one. Right. I'm going to roll VT and we can have a proper chat.
are we on?
Yes, we've been on for about 10 minutes. Phoning it in, people. Phoning it in.
Open wide for some soccer!
And now the shipping forecast issued by the Met Office on behalf of the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency at 1130. Go! At 1130.
I don't think I've ever wanted to be in a stand more than my life running there. They're going crazy. Hey, they got penalty here. They've been fish flying about. There's no tomorrow.
What a magnificent piece of football! A really, really good goal. You can't mention strength like that.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the DN35 podcast. Welcome aboard. Since the last time you were with us, the Mariners have found the ball in the net 9 times in the old onion bag. We've conceded 4. But we slaughtered the Goliath that is Slough Town. We managed to valiantly come back against the behemoth of Forest Green, where there were tens of thousands of blades of grass there. To watch a 2-2 draw in the winds of the Cotswolds, and we really want your opinions on stuff. So apparently 97 people watching live. We would love your feedback and your thoughts on where we are at the moment. I'm not sure, so it'd be great to get your thoughts on where we are. Rumors are abound of new managers every day. We're getting a new one. It's a manager day of the week, a special of the week. Whether it be David Healy, Danny Cowley, Steve Morrison, who else have we had going in? Some random bloke from Gibraltar. Justin Cochran. All of these. So, where do you want the merry-go-round to stop? And do you want it to stop quite quickly, or are you happy for it to go on ad nauseum until we all feel sick and want to get off the ride? I'm joined by Sam Barrett.
I'll let you two debate the last point there about where you want the merry-go-round to stop. Not sure I'm qualified to speak on that one.
Never qualified to speak on anything. Sam is here. Mike is here. Me and Sam were at the game yesterday. Mike was not. Quell Supri.
Shock.
And count them. Two. Banters, lads, banters. Please do come in with your thoughts on everything so far, and on your thoughts on beating Slough, into the second round of the FA Cup. Oxford United await us in a 3-sided stand and stadium, not stand, and we'll go from there. Really, Sam, we'll start with yesterday, and then we can always go back to Slough. Did anyone actually go to the replay?
I didn't.
No, and
even I drew the line at that.
Yeah, there we go. And then there we go. So 2-2 yesterday. Town went 2-0 down. I think to a relatively soft penalty. We started really well, in my opinion. I thought, first 15, 20 minutes, I think we were the better team, and then it just felt like a malaise set upon us. They had a good couple of chances to be able to take it. The wind was very much in their favour, and I don't know whether or not that was talked about on what was apparently god-awful commentary, but it was a really windy first half, and that was pretty much the reason why they hit the bar, and they had another couple of they just sort of shot on sight for a while. Mike, yes, question at the back, the bespectacled man in the back.
Mike McMahon, DN35. They did talk about the win, probably more than the football. It was mentioned more than 50 times, I think.
Good. Well, it was. Andrew Nars has how much was the wind a factor? I think it was a little bit, Andrew. The ball kept getting caught up in the air quite a bit, and so it was a bit of a it was a bit of a factor. And I was hoping it would come back in our favour. I thought it wasn't a penalty, but I think we had, ample enough chances and opportunities to clear the ball, as was the case in the second goal as well. And then as we went in, you just feel like, oh God, here we go again. It felt like heads were down after an initially good start, and that sort of apparent lack of leadership, even though you've got like Gavin Holohan there, Sean Pearson, Ben Davis on the bench. You've got experienced players everywhere around. And then second half, we sort of started to pull it out of the bag. Nice little finish by Donovan Wilson for the second. The other one felt a bit of a scramble. But after we'd scored the second, it felt like there was only going to be one winner, and it wasn't us. We didn't really sort of take the ball by the horns and try and push for a winner. It felt like, we'd done our bit and then back to it. Then number 25, it felt like everything went through them. I thought quite a few of our lads had a decent game. I thought Malarkey in the first half was pretty good. I thought Hunt came on, had a nice little bit. That little move he had when he sort of ghosted past three players and laid it off was pretty nice. Conte came on and did quite a bit. I just enjoy Green, full stop. Danny Rose was a bit busy. And I thought Cartwright made a very good save at the end as well. Though Sam's friend was not as forgiving saying it was just straight at him. He had no idea. But I thought it was pretty good.
I don't think we should take his advice as gospel. He was just moaning about absolutely everything.
Go on then. What did you think of it?
Sorry, Cam, for digging you out there.
He dug everyone else out. You might as well.
He dug everyone else out, didn't he? Nobody was safe. He was blaming the kit man at one stage, wasn't he? What was it to say? I'm conflicted like you. I don't really know with it at the moment. That I was having the debate with myself almost last night, thinking, are we just low on confidence? I got fragile confidence that increased a little bit on the back of last week, with several players out of form that need a kind of a new manager, a new direction, a new set of ideas, something to give us a bit of a lift and a bit of purpose? Or are we actually quite a poor side that are going to be down there at the bottom of the league unless we throw some serious cash at it in January? I lean more towards the first one because it's sort of like inherent optimism. But I thought what you said was pretty accurate, to be honest, Alex. I mean, we started off well as we do, but then we conceded a chance and everyone just panics, don't? I mean, the number of times the ball goes into our final third and defenders, it's just panic stations, isn't it? We don't have any kind of calming influence. No one kind of.
It's almost like we have no shape.
Yeah. We completely lost shape. Completely lost. What's the word? Well, cohesion almost.
Shape.
Right, okay. Think of better words than shape. Keep or shape. No
shapes.
But going forward, we're all right. I mean, we create plenty of chances. We're scoring plenty of goals. Then the flip side of that is you say, right, they were really poor yesterday, and I thought they were really poor. Like you could see why they'd lost 3-0 at Tranmere last week. McAllister, the guy who scored both goals, looked a decent player. I mean, the finish for the second goal was quality. I mean, we can talk about the kind of Green and Rodgers, what on earth the pair of them are doing in the build up to that. But as much as you like, but the finish is quality. And then, as you say, when we get back to 2-2, we've got all the momentum with us, and we just kind of, in a sort of almost negative way, just kind of somehow surrender all the initiative that we had. So much so that they forced a great save out of Cartwright and blazed over the bar. They managed to create a chance in the last minute stoppage time down the left-hand side. When we had two left
they also had a header, didn't they, which they glanced, and it kind of scraped the post, didn't it?
And we didn't look like scoring a winner at all after the.
No.
I mean, I remember saying when we scored, Alex had 10 minutes to hold on. I was taking the point from that position. You were more gung ho. Come on, let's get into him.
I'm a simple man.
So I start by saying I think we need a new manager. We need some new impetus. It's fairly clear the owners are not going to rush this process. They are not going to let results or circumstances change the process they're going through. They've obviously got a very clear plan of what they want to do, which I back to a great extent. But we don't. I mean, on the face of it, Pearson and Davis have managed 4 games, 1-2 drawn 2. It's not that bad, is it? But they could have said the sort of middle 15 to 60 minutes yesterday wasn't very encouraging at all. We don't play well for 90 minutes. We haven't all season. We play well in spells and concede a goal, and our heads drop. So it's strange that we started coming from behind all of a sudden. 2 games running with 1 point from losing positions. But I think there's look at the central defence in particular. So in the last few weeks, he's taken Conte and Issa out of the team because we know they're better players than they're showing, but they're both woefully low on confidence and need taking out the firing line to protect themselves as much as anything. I know Issa's going to win an international break. Harvey Rodgers needs taken out of the team for his own good. He's nervous. He plays this ridiculous little ping upfield when he doesn't know what to do with it. And he's really struggling with his own game. Now, if we had a sort of credible alternative on the bench, which Luke Waterfall has demonstrated he is not this season, I don't think Rodgers will be playing.
Are you saying? Are you saying the first person that we really missed from last season is Andy Smith?
That was exactly the point I was going to make.
Sorry, mate. I didn't know that. Sorry.
That's no problem. Great minds think alike. I say that I think we're missing Smith more than we think we are, and I think despite the fact he was a young lad, I think he was a man. And we're really lacking men without wishing to kind of become quite macho about this. I think you know what I'm trying to say. But I listened to the interview yesterday. It just sounds like that Davis and Pearson have got next week as well. I don't know what's the reason to that, whether just kind of doing good due diligence or whether we're actually struggling to identify someone to take the job. I can't make my mind up on that one either. But
Sam, we can see you picking your nose. You're on a camera.
How many times have I blown my nose already during this speech?
Do you want to go blow your nose for a minute? Go sort yourself out,
No,
and we'll have a chat.
It's fine, but we're doing it all evening. Otherwise, it's fine.
The only highlight I had was that I made the linesman laugh, which I think I was impressed with. If I can make the lino laugh.
Ironic, since you were calling him bald-headed, given how we started the show, talking about your kind of challenges in that department.
Look, I can get it in while I can. He didn't see that camera angle, so he can't tell. But I told him he needed a bubble hat because he'd get cold. And he doesn't know what the pass-back rule is.
And you told him to give us a penalty in the second half. And he did say, "I'm not getting involved, mate." You had a conversation with the lino.
I'm not getting involved. Oh, the linesman's not getting involved. Yeah, that's
I'm
really
70 yards away.
I'm 70 yards away. I'm not getting involved, mate. Were his exact words.
It was me and Glenn having a berating him.
Not doing me.
And also, that was a pass back, wasn't it?
No, it was not a pass back. If he can
it was a pass back.
If he can control that, why is he not playing for England?
Grimbo says he wants the Cowley so backed. I assume that's a sexual thing. John Lewis is saying Sam's hairline isn't far off Alex's.
Yeah.
Hey, mine's fighting a battle in retreat as well at points.
I tell you, this is now Grimsby Town with 5 minutes to go and trying to save a point.
There's no battle in retreat there, mate. It's given up. Every man for himself.
I've been to France too often. It's just falling into line.
I think you're both right on yesterday's game. I would say the first 15, 20 minutes, I thought we were really good. I thought we got in quite a few times down the left and down the right, and I was a bit disappointed we hadn't nicked something early on. They seemed to want to play the ball out quite a lot, which got them in trouble, but also got them up the pitch quite a bit once they beat our press. I'd say after the 15, 20-minute mark, I think they'd worked out that if they just put a deep ball over the top of us with the wind, which seemed to be causing havoc, they seem to get a lot of luck because we don't, as we've said before, we look an absolute nervous wreck in our defensive third of the pitch. And I think they worked that out and they exploited that well. The frustrating thing is both of their goals came from us having possession. You know, you've got Ma that took an age when he went into the left channel to clear the ball, didn't really clear it properly. And there's another phase of play and there's a goal. And there's another phase of play in the penalty and the goal. It wasn't a penalty, but there you go. And Green dallying on the ball too much, which happened quite a lot in that game in midfield until Conte came in. Just too much, not got as much time as they think. Lost the ball, and then for some unknown reason, Rodgers decides to come and, you know, try and be Superman and win everything, misses everything, and it's left a whacking great hole in the middle of our defence. They just waltz through. They nearly made a mess of it, you know, because they were cleaning, and then they, you know, a few little side passes, and they scored a good goal. But I think credit to Sean and Ben. They obviously changed it at half time. We've been crying out for that for ages, for changes in game. And it's not the first time they've done it. I think the Morecambe game, they did it and changed the game. And this is the second time. So full credit to them for that. I think Conte did well, controlled the game well. I'm not sure how much has to do with him. I think he played well, or the changing conditions with the wind on our side second period. But I thought we were good value for a point. I think we created quite a lot. I think we had something like 16 shots, so Sam's point is quite true. We can't defend, but we can score. So at least there is only one thing and not two things to fix for the new people coming in. Just in
Can I
terms
jump
of
in there, Mike? Isn't that a positive? Do you not think it's, if you think of
it's
it like
positive.
that, it's easy? It's probably easier to solve being defensively vulnerable than it is to create more.
Yeah, and I think you're right. What you say, I was speaking to you yesterday about it, wasn't I? When you have players that have poor form, whether it's a striker, a midfielder, keeper, or a defender, it doesn't make them a bad player. Conte's had a bit of bad form, doesn't make him a bad player, and the same with any footballer. What sometimes you need to do is take a player out of it for a couple of games, give them a rest, let them come back in. What we have is that the only option as a full-time centre-back is Luke Waterfall. We've spoken before about our love for Luke and the fact he's a legend at this club and he's achieved a lot, but he himself has looked not as steady as he used to be. Now, we don't know if that's because of how we were trying to play in the high line.
He was also, and this is really harsh to say, but he was also a pivotal part of one of the reasons we got relegated.
Yeah, but I know we spoke about that at the time, but I think he was, he was trying to play a way he couldn't play. But
but that's the thing, isn't it? If he's trying to play that way and he's in that sort of form, it has a tendency to go that way, doesn't it? And
yeah,
Andrew
at the minute, he looks like
that.
Yeah,
I said that.
He looks like how Holloway was trying to play him, as a ball playing centre back, and he's not. He's a stopper. You're not too high up the pitch, and doesn't want much at his feet. So you're quite right there, Sam. But there's no option to change things around. I don't think Mar or Rodgers are particularly bad centre backs. We know Mar's not because we've seen him, and Rodgers can't because he had a good few seasons in League One. What they do look is absolutely shot of confidence. And whether it's the partnership or if it's just the constant of every week conceding and shipping goals, you need the option to be able to take somebody out and freshen it up. Last thing I would say, well, last two things on the game yesterday, I thought Andrews had a good game and I think Pike had a good game. Without really scoring or doing much, I think he was a good outlet on the left in that channel. And I think when you get the ball in the channel to Pike, one-on-one with a fullback or a right-sided centre-back, I think he's an asset there. There was one particular one where he picked the ball up on the halfway line, dribbled it half the length of the pitch and got a good shot off. And I also think, despite the commentary, which you guys wouldn't have heard, I thought Glennon had a really good game as well. We look most dangerous when we've got that ball.
Oh, Mike. 3 times in the game, 3 times did Sam compliment Glennon. 52nd minute, 63rd minute, and I think there was a time towards the end of the game as well.
Was he not watching for the rest of it? Because that doesn't surprise me. He's a good player.
You've even got my bloody flatmate jumping on that one about Glennon, who didn't know who Glennon was a few weeks ago, and now all of a sudden he's laughing about how much I praise Anthony Glennon. So thanks for that one.
Just to finish that point off, and I'll let you guys have a go, is we look the most dangerous when we get the ball down the left and we work it and get a ball in. Alex Rodman seemed to have an issue with Glennon's delivery yesterday, and I thought it was great. I thought there was one or two.
I never did like Alex Rodman.
Yeah, there was one or two that didn't go where they should have done, but there were so many of those balls were just begging to be put away. And I think the first goal we scored was from that little short corner to him at the back post. So I thought he had a good game as well as Pike and Andrews. And I'll shut up now for a minute.
I don't mind. I think it's been, for the first time in a while, that was a pretty comprehensive review. No, Bruce is here. We can, start talking about that instead of talking about, this was the date on the day that Ivano Benetti scored against West Brom. Yeah, exactly. So, we've had a chance to talk about the game. I thought, do you know what? I know, Sam, you said I thought both teams they don't look like two teams that will get relegated this season. They weren't amazing, but they didn't look like those sort of teams that I think both teams will finish slightly higher than they are.
I've been talking about this with someone today about I think we've got sort of collective PTSD about this a little bit. We wouldn't. I think that because we've been relegated from the league twice before, this side doesn't resemble either of the sides that got relegated before. But because of the league position, because of the results, and because of the kind of nature of recent games, I think people are getting a little bit, including myself in this, getting a little bit overly concerned about it. But I thought they looked poor. I thought we looked poor. I thought, just going back to the Andrews thing, I thought he did well again on the ball. He's a bit lightweight. I'm never going to forgive him for what he did against Colchester, but we can.
Everyone's allowed redemption, but I was just as equally pissed off about it.
We've got to part that because I think he's done pretty well since.
As he did as he watched the player run away.
But no, and I think it's worth sticking with Glennon because, I mean, as we joked about my dislike of left backs yesterday, love right backs, hate left backs. Draw your own conclusions on that one, people. Danny Amos, I think Danny Amos has proved that he's basically he's all right as a league defender, but the ceiling with Glennon is a hell of a lot higher than Danny Amos.
He did have a bit of a moment, didn't he, where right at the end he let them in and they should have scored. I think sometimes the reason you don't see a lot of defensive changes in a game is because that is a position that's really difficult to get up to speed. But two quick points. Firstly, I think the last two or three games have proven a point to us where we were questioning about character, and whilst we've not got that spirit of keeping a clean sheet, what we do have is the character where we've come back in games twice. So whilst we're not there yet, we do know there is a bit about this team and they're scoring goals. We just need to sort that centre sort of central defensive area out. Yeah, and
the defensive thing's fine to it. I'm not going to say fine; it's not fine at the moment. But I mean, we have short memories, don't we, as football fans? So we have short memories in politics. We have short memories as football fans. I go back to, again, I mentioned that Bradford game as a turning point. That before that, we were saying that Mara and Rodgers, this is the best centre defensive partnership in the league. How on earth have we signed Harvey Rodgers? These two are the real deal, and we are not going to concede many goals with these two in the side. So they are better players than they're showing, and maybe the Waterfall thing, maybe he's rusty because he's not really had a run in the side at any stage. He's played 1 and 2 games here and there. Maybe if you gave him a few games, 4 or 5, I don't know, probably a cup game thrown in there as well, he could get up to speed a little bit more and give Rodgers a bit of a break in the firing line. I'm not writing Rodgers off, by the way, by any stretch of the imagination. I'm saying that he's a good player who needs taking out the side for his own good as much as anything. And we've talked about why he's done that before. But I think we're a couple of players off actually being a properly decent side, like a really controlling centre half.
That's the whole point of Division 4, though, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
the teams are much of a muchness, and it's only when you'll get those ones that have got completely devoid of any confidence whatsoever. Like, we've seen quite a few of them, and they get relegated, and then the rest of them are a decent striker away, or a leader in the middle of the park, or a box-to-box midfielder they'll make it. It's the same with Stevenage. Stevenage weren't an incredible side last season, but they were just well organised and had a couple of decent players that took them up, isn't it? It always seems to be the way, especially down here. We just shot
one of which we signed.
Yeah, I just feel like that guy. I just feel like Train Spotting when they could say it's shit being Scottish. It's shit being in Division 4. It really is. The football's so shit.
I have had a conversation the last week about how the conference was more fun. It ended up with people saying, "Be careful what you." I wasn't saying that, but be careful what you wish for.
Well, with Waterfall, mate, I think it is, like we said a minute ago, I think it might be in the higher line we're playing this year. So if he comes back in, maybe want to be a bit deeper. I agree again with the Rodgers point, and Matt to some extent. He's not covered himself in glory. I'm just very apprehensive or reticent to write players off after a bit of bad form. It's called the Rob Jones effect, I think, because I thought he was absolute terrible, and then we had that second season where he was a world beater. But just for me, the final thing about yesterday was I was made my day. We saw for the last 10 minutes Anthony Glennon playing left wing, so that was
it was too many left backs for Sam yesterday. He was starting to cry. I think he hunkered down. There was too many of them.
Because I did say that a while ago about maybe seeing him on left midfield a little bit, and then everybody jumped on me saying, "Well, why are you going to drop Easter?" And I did make the point. I'm not on about now when Easter was scoring. I was like, when we have injuries or bad form. And I think if you can use him as an outlet, he could be a good winger.
2 left backs, Sean. Are you insane?
You made the joke yesterday, Alex.
I know, but it was funnier now. I can
It's got
go
a bigger
through the whole
audience now.
references. Yeah, it's bigger audience.
It was quite funny there
Hey,
yesterday seeing who'd watched Peep Show around us. That was the.
People must get tired of standing near me.
Yes.
Shut up.
Oh, I said that out loud. Sorry, mate. I thought
When he came and stood next to me yesterday, Mike, I was like,
oh, for fuck's sake.
not again. Oh. Piss off back to France.
So that shine coming from a mile off.
Oh, I'm not having that. That's mean. Right, here we go. So some people have been actually listening to us whittering on. J Rod says, would you stick with Sean and Ben if we win the next 2 games? No from me. They're also part of the coaching team that put us in this mess in the first place. And I think we need fresh ideas.
Just on that, I think it's largely irrelevant. I think I posted somewhere the other day that I have nothing against Sean and Ben. I think they've done a really good job so far, actually. But I don't think there's any circumstances that the club would go for them. And I wouldn't want them to. I mean, they're Sean, obviously more so, but they're two lads that have been at the club for a while. And I would hate for them to be given the job early and then not work and tarnish a reputation and them leave the club. I would rather they stayed here, learnt their trade. They obviously have something about them from what they've done over the last couple of games, but I'd like them to do a bit more of an apprenticeship, and maybe the next appointment might be a Sean Pearson or Ben Davis. But I think it's a moot point because I can't see for the life of me any circumstances with the quality of the candidates we're apparently after that they'd even entertain giving it to them.
The quality of the candidates we're apparently after. You're more positive about the names floating around than I am, Mike.
That's not normal, mate. You're forever a pessimist, and I'm always happy clapping over here.
He's been looking at the polls. That's why. Andrew Matthews says
made that joke as well. Actually, it's funny being 26 behind in the pond does to people.
It's well, if you stop paying so much attention to the polls, pre-Brexit, we might not be in this mess. Andrew Matthews says we are like.
I was going to say, I think the only overseas manager in the betting market was David Healy. I don't
know. We are like Kevin Keegan's Newcastle. Harvey made a quality save at the end, says Grimbo. Yeah, we've already talked about that. I thought, I think he's growing into that position. And after what was a shaky start at the beginning of the season, I think he's our number 1 at the moment. Though I would still be looking for, what might be out there. Rogers says Rogers played the long diagonal ball less yesterday, thankfully. He still played it far too much, Simon. Mark Worrell says the commentary was diabolical. I can imagine it was. We're getting that thing. Everybody moans about Tonda until he's not there. Grimbo says we're in trouble if we don't get Sutton.
Go back to the wind thing. Hold on a second. I find it really tiring in some ways that we complain about the wind. We play by the bloody sea. We should be better equipped to deal with it than anybody else.
And we also designed the stadium to maximise wind. We didn't build the Findus block in the wind. We put it up as a deflector to bring it back again, didn't we?
Are you really saying there's that much forethought that went into it?
Also, the Findus blocks the sun, so it struggles to when it gets really cold or wet, it struggles to dry the pitch. The Grimsby Bundle Park should be rotated by 180 degrees.
Don't get Alex started. No. Don't get Alex started. That's his big plan.
If we rotate the pitch by 90 degrees and buy the houses behind the main stand over a year, I don't know, a long time, it would create larger sides on where the pontoon the Osmond is to create a large side stands, and you could use the Findus as an end stand, and then we could have a small end at the other side, maybe for corporate facilities. Is that what you wanted me to talk about, Mike?
Yeah, mate. Could you write us a piece on it as well?
I will do, yeah. Speaking of writing your piece, Jack says, can you get something in for the programme, by the way? You haven't responded back to him.
Have I had a message?
Yes. Mark Warren says, really, they've done a great job, but I don't think they are the answer short-term, mid-term, long-term. Would love to be proven wrong, but I think we are ideally placed to form part of the backroom staff for the next boss. I agree with you, Mark. I think that's probably where I want them to say. John Lewis says, to say they were poor is rubbish. They had multiple chances to put the game to bed. Saved by Cartwright, crossbar, and narrow misses. I thought they did have a fair few chances yesterday, John. I think we were. I thought we were the better team. Pardon?
Only because we let them, because we're defensively disorganised, uncommunicative.
Well done, Mike. Tackleberry says, yes, Alex has been saying we need to rotate the pitch for years. I was right, yeah. I think we should also have taken that bit of land next to where the salmon farm's going to be as well, because that's bigger and better. I don't know what else we need to say about that. That was the game yesterday. Another point at least. I just don't know. We've got Sutton next, haven't we? I hate saying it's a must-win game because it's not. If we lose, we can still, the season hasn't finished.
There's no such thing at the minute. I think the biggest takeaway I'm taking is that, you know, we've gone through a lot.
What is your takeaway of choice, Mike?
I'm taking this takeaway away with me. So we've gone through a lot of the season, not looking like winning, not looking like competing in a lot of games. And what's happened since Paul's left? Granted, 2 of the games are FA Cup games against, you know, minor teams, but there's a team that is starting to get a couple of results together, you know, showing some confidence, showing some attacking flair and playing a way where I think we're going to create chances to score goals. We can just sort that defence out, which isn't the most difficult task at a football club, sorting a defence out. I think we've started off on the right way. We've also got Vernon, Isak, Khan that weren't available yesterday. You know, so there's a lot of options as well that we are missing. So I think it's a corner turned, and you know, if we don't beat Sutton, it's not the end of the world this early in the season. Get the new manager in, have a transfer window, get the team playing together. I think we're fine, absolutely fine.
I happen to think I think we'll beat Sutton next week, but I think we'll at home with the crowd behind us. I think we'll try and play at a tempo again that they won't be able to cope with.
Yes, I mean last year we struggled, didn't we? Because of the way they play. I think this year, you know, if anyone's going to come to Blundell Park and not create a lot of chances, we're going to score 2 or 3 goals. I think playing like this. So at home, particularly, if you're limiting teams, I think you'll be winning more of your home games, especially teams like Sutton, who I think set up in a way to play away from home, which doesn't mean they get the ball forward as much as teams if you're playing them away higher up the league.
Onto the Sam, you need to say what you say because I'm moving on.
While I say on the one hand, it's difficult. It's you kind of got this kind of collective post-trauma about relegation. I also wouldn't be surprised when actually ended up finishing in a similar position to last season. That's not kind of like sort of lays bare the conflict in my own head about this. That I can't really, even though we're now late November, I still can't really work out if we're actually any good or we're actually bad.
You always think the worst thing's going to happen, Sam. Chill out, mate. Be fine.
Well, let's be entirely honest. The worst thing happens more often than not. So I'm not allowing Mike to take the Tom Sargent view of we're not getting relegated as we're being relegated. So, you know, it can happen. I know the table's tight. You know, we're only 2 points off 16th. So, and 3 points off 15th. So it's not, you know, we've got a chance of moving up pretty quickly, which hopefully we can, you know, make the new manager aware of. And speaking of the new manager, so we can finally fucking move on from 2-2 with Forest Green. Andrew Matthews says, fans forum this Friday. Maybe, I assume the owners will announce something. I'll tell you something, Andrew. Whenever they come on here, they tend to have something up their sleeve that they've announced sort of 12 hours before they come on the show. And it's usually those guys that come out and reach out to us. You know, you never be wrong. I would imagine they would quite like someone in, and I would like someone in this week. I saw a couple of people having a pop saying we don't need somebody in now. I know they've been Sam made a point at the game yesterday. They've been doing it for 6 weeks. I don't think they have. I think we had this conversation last week as well, where it's about the process, seeing who's around, and then, you know, they didn't start in earnest until Hurst had gone. But we've had a couple of weeks now. We've got a fair few people around. I think there's, you know, headhunters in, you know, the person who's picked in, you know, who's been looking at some of the players is looking at managers. So I think I would like to see someone coming in this week, because I think he needs to know what he's got, play about with it, and then he can start making his thoughts on what needs to be improved for
January.
The January transfer window.
Yeah, we've got to be at the business end of it, haven't we? Do you want the betting market?
Go on then. This will be fun. Hang on, Mike. Let's find you some good music.
Don't, because then my mic doesn't work, mate, when you get music on.
That's even funnier. Let's do it. Let's
That's
find
what
it.
you
Where
want,
we got?
isn't it?
There we go. Go on, then.
Right. So we've got Danny Cowley at 6-4, Sean Pearson 3-1, Nathan Mooney at 4-1. I think
It does make his mic go weird, doesn't it?
yeah. Do you want me to start again?
Yeah.
So we've got Danny Cowley at 4, Sean Pearson at 3-1, Nathan Rooney 4-1. As I said, I think somebody in his family's putting money on for that. David Artell 5-1, Justin Cochran from Brentford, Brentford's head of coaching 10-1. Steve Morrison, a new entry this weekend with a rumor from somebody at Reach that we're in contract negotiations 10-1. David Ely 14-1. Ben Davis at 16-1, and early favourite Phil Parkinson and Liam Richardson have drifted out to 20-1 and 25-1.
That's because nobody put a tenner on them for a fortnight. That's all that means.
Grimbo says, "Would you be really disappointed? Would the podcast be really disappointed if we appointed Nathan Rooney?" Yes.
Would you disband the podcast? It says.
Oh, I didn't read it properly.
You said last week you would.
No. Well, maybe, but it would be a lot of good content. Which is the only thing I can say. There are two Twitter accounts out there, Tom Williams and HC Football, who are seen as sort of people to listen to when it comes to lower league matters. And whenever they write about a particular manager, they seem to know who they are for a start, which is impressive. And then they tend to, you know, I don't know. I've never heard of them. And then there's 3 articles at least written by the Daily Mirror's team about them. I saw the Daily Mirror's guy was talking about Steve Morrison. Does anyone know about him? I don't know.
Yeah, so he I think he finished his career at Cardiff and then took over on a temporary basis, kept them up, got a year, kept them up again, and I think he got the sack after 10 games, 3 wins, I think it was in his last season. He's currently at Hornchurch, I think, who are top of the Ismail League. Was some rumours in the summer he was in negotiations to go back to Cardiff. Seems the rumour is that we're in negotiations, but we can't agree a fee. I would suspect if that is true, and if he nearly went back to Cardiff this season, the fella fancies himself higher up the division, and I think the Hornchurch one looks like it was just something to keep him ticking over, which is a big risk, actually, because if he'd got that wrong, then he could have waved bye-bye to any EFL jobs. But he's had experience at Cardiff.
His stock's surely higher than 21st in League Two.
Well, his stock's high enough to be at Hornchurch.
Yeah, he's currently he's currently below Scunny, so there's that.
As with Slough, we beat them 7-2. There's the review of that game. None of us went. No, that was that part of it. I don't know. I don't know who we bring in.
He does the and none of us have seen any of his football, and none of us have seen a lot of the people's football that will probably come in. But it is quite widely discussed that he does like to play an attacking brand of football. So that sort of appointment, a young manager on the way up, possibly with some experience and liking to play an attacking brand of football, that would be on brand for the ownership. It's one of these where my initial reaction was like, oh, really? And then I thought about it a bit, and I try to think about things occasionally. And I thought, maybe, there's no reason it wouldn't. He's had a decent bit of experience at Cardiff. So I think whoever does come in, whether I'm underwhelmed or whelmed by it, I think they'll always get our backing. But I really do hope we get the Cowleys. That's who I want, really.
Do you not think if we could get the Cowleys, though, they'd already be here, because it'd be it's such a kind of obvious. They're clearly on paper at least the best.
No, because I think these guys that Jason, Andrew, I think they're proper businessmen that'll do a proper process. They won't do the Slade replacing Big Nut stuff. They'll do a proper process.
At a wedding. Didn't Fenty ask him at a wedding?
Yeah, and then appointed him 3 days later or something. Yeah, they won't do that. There'll be a process, and they will finish that process. So I don't think if Danny Cowley said on the second day of the job being vacant, I want the job, I don't think that would change their timeline at all. They'll want to interview people, and they'll probably want to do second interviews. You can see that's true by the fact we're rumoured to have approached David Healy for permission to speak to him, but I don't think that's anything else other than we want to speak to a plethora of candidates. I'd be surprised if we've not spoken to Phil Parkinson.
Can we not use words like plethora, please? Remember the audience.
Multitude, myriad. But they
a
do
lot,
better.
loads, massive
Dead
amounts,
Dead loads.
shit ton. Is that better?
We've got to, stay in our wheelhouse. We can't use words like plethora.
Are we?
Is that it? Cool. And that's the end of the show.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
We've got Slough coming up. A couple of things.
No, we haven't.
Gonna have
Slough are gone, mate. Never go in there again.
Look, sorry, I'm just having a look.
Could I just say one thing? Simon Hodson says his name is a shop too. Can I just speak without filtering? It really annoys me he's not got the second R in his name. My OCD with the Morrison. Just saying.
Yeah. Well, we'll just add an S on and it'll be all right.
Yeah.
Why would Danny Cowley reject Bradford for us? Because we are a better run club than Bradford, I'd say, Grimbo.
They are an absolute skip fire. Absolute skip fire, Bradford. Just have a look.
And you need to start that as well. It is Division 4 Bradford, because that's where, that's where they now live.
If you want to look at how that's a managerial graveyard, look at Derek Adams. Succeeded at Morecambe, succeeded at Plymouth. Sorry, succeeded at Morecambe twice, you could argue. Goes to Bradford, stinks the place out. Now, sometimes appointments don't work out, but the fact that he did so poorly, given a kind of the rest of his career, he's produced nothing but success, basically, I think indicates a pretty fundamental problem at Bradford City. I mean, they think they're a massive club because they basically sell season tickets with Happy Meals. So they got 3,500 for the Wickham home game in the cup, not the replay, the first game. 3,500. That's all they had. So they're not actually. They've just got a kind of artificially high fan base because of their huge away support, because of their huge season ticket reduction. I mean, they didn't sell out at Notts County yesterday. I mean, there'll be a lot of them thinking, "Thank God I didn't go."
They are also a city of 500,000 as well.
And
but they're on the doorstep of Leeds, aren't they? So it's like if say you live around like living Keelby or Caister or I don't know, you're going to support us. Whereas if you're any of those surrounding areas around West Yorkshire, you're going to support the scum, aren't you? So it doesn't really
how it works. But yeah, I would say as a Yorkshireman that spent a lot of time in Bradford, I don't feel this is too harsh to say I'm going to take a leaf out of Alex's book talking about Luton and say it's also an absolute shithole.
I've been to Bradford twice because everyone also have to go to the Film and Television Museum in Bradford as a school trip, because I had to do it twice. Yeah.
So you've never been to Valley Parade? You've never been to Valley Parade?
No.
No, we had safeguarding at my school. Didn't make us go to stuff like that.
I
watched been there 5 or 6 times.
Nah. It's I
went to the theatre in Bradford. The theatre I went to in Bradford, yeah.
Anything else? Oh yeah, so the women's team lost 4-1 to Gainsborough Trinity today and are out of the cup. Hopefully we're going to get a bit more on that nowadays. That is not my fault. Alfie Dean has very kindly come out and said, I will give you some reviews because I go to the games. And I only messaged him midway through the podcast to see if he was free. So that's on me. And we won't get a review, but we will be getting a review in a minute of the youth team who beat South Shields and are now playing Nottingham Forest in the third round of the FA Youth Cup. Unfortunately, Nottingham Forest got to the final last year, only to lose to Man United. And apparently no one at the club cares because they haven't even tweeted about it yet. But they are playing Forest.
I had no idea. It only popped up in our London WhatsApp group that it was all going off. I had no idea. So, yeah, well done them. But I had no idea it was happening.
Did you see the youth team? I didn't know. Which has blah, blah, blah. Perfect. And the Grimsby Town Forum are here. They were at the game and could give us a quick rundown. Hello, mate. How are you? Welcome to the show. Lucky enough to be at South Shields and to speak to Neil Woods. What was the general? It's like we've got roving reporters. What was the general feedback from the game against the Mariners? Which is weird to say.
Oh, trust me, that is weird to say. Mariners versus Mariners. Oh. migraine and a half on that one. The game was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Tackles were flying. But the boys, what a performance. Cam Gardner, the first 2 goals run against a play, literally. It was all South Shields, beginning of the half. But Cam Gardner, his first goal, top left bin, beautiful shot. Second one came from a corner, and Cam just got a touch on that one. Absolutely brilliant. Came in, and beginning of the second half, I literally pulled Cam to one side, and I literally went, "Hey, Cam, get a hat trick. Get a hat trick." He went, "I'll try." And he comes on, second half, bags in a third. Unbelievable. But he gets 2 yellows, comes off. Shills gets 1 back. But we bounce back and get another 2. Courtesy of Grazing Giles. 2 goals, puts it 5-1. Great win. But interviewing Neil Woods, absolutely fantastic bloke. Top guy to interview. Asked him, "You won't mind having a quick interview after the game?" He went, "Give me 10 minutes. Give me 10 minutes and I'll give you an interview." I was like, top. And we did the 5-minute interview, and he literally went, "We don't want a home game. We want an away game for the lads. But I'm having stern words with Cam Gardner." And I think Cam's going to realise he can't do stupid tackles in the second when you want a yellow, because you're going to get sent off, and the boys are going to learn.
How is Cam Gardner? I haven't seen him play yet, but he's quite a coup to come to us. Obviously, you know, an entertaining player, shall we say? The Kevin Keegan sort of model of, you know, he'll either score a hat trick or get punched in the face and then get sent off, I guess. So, does he stand head and shoulders above the rest, or was it a sort of a group performance? Really,
it was a full-on group performance throughout. But Cam Gardner, he's 6'1", 6'2", I think. Ooh. But he is fast, and I mean literally fast. He can get in that pocket. He can make, once he's in that pocket and he's got that opening, that is it. He's in on goal. He's ready to shoot. He had about 8 or 9 chances that night. He could have got more, like what Neil said. Could have had more goals, but he's took away the match ball. 5-1 win, and Forest in the third round. It's got to be a good one.
Absolutely, it really is. Thank you so much for coming on. And if you go to the Grimsby Town Forum Twitter page, they've got the interview with Neil Woods pinned at the top, so it'd be well worth going to have a listen to it. Yeah, it'll be a long. So thank you so much for coming on at such last minute, mate. Really appreciate it.
No problem at all.
Thank you very much.
Good work, lads.
Thank you, guys. See you later.
Yes, pal.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? How the youth team, I used to, when they had that run to Newcastle,
was it about to say you had trials once or something?
Yeah, I had trials, for shoplifting.
You'd have made it if it weren't for your knee, wouldn't you, mate?
It made it from and the foot and the head and general balance, hand-eye coordination, overweight.
Skill mainly.
Yeah, it means the world to them. I mean, I was around the team anyway when they got towards Newcastle game, and they played Burnley as well and stuff, and it does mean the world. And you can get quite far in this tournament if you're organised and you get there. And it'll be interesting. But Forest, that is a difficult task. Here's my story time. I'll do the Bruce thing. Shall I do the Bruce thing?
Put the Morecambe Wise.
So I used to help record the videos for the youth team years ago now, and I was living in Michigan at the time, and they said, "Oh, can you come and fill the game while we're playing at Forest?" Like, yeah, no problem. But we had no idea where the ground was, so they picked me up on the way into town, and we had to stop at the Nottingham Forest club shop with the team on the bus to ask where we were playing. So there you go. That's the story. It's not as good as Bruce ones, but there you are.
That is, if it's not as good as Bruce, that worries me.
I thought it was a good story. It's one of my only few, apart from I've ever told you the one where I got locked in the Findus.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. I'm like an old man now.
Yeah.
It's the Forest game at the City Ground.
Even I've heard that one twice.
Simon, I believe it will be at the City Ground because they play their games there. So when we find out more details, we'll let people know on the Twitter channel.
Did you not listen? Did you not listen, Simon? Did you not listen, Simon? Alex is the absolute last person to be asking that question on the evidence of what he's just told us.
I know where the City Ground is.
It's in the city, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
no, it's not. It's in
next
Rushcliffe. It's not in Nottingham.
Well, because Meadow Lane's on one side of the river and the City Ground and Trent Bridge are on the other side.
Exactly. Aren't we at home v Foresters? Bruce said he couldn't come on, and he's now just on the WhatsApp group. Just
Bruce said he was under the weather and his voice was struggling.
Oh, that's
right.
a shame. He's taking weird pictures of us and sending them. Do you think he meant to send them? He's just keeping them for his private collection.
Yeah, it's going in the archive, isn't it? On this day. He's
just spamming the WhatsApp chat. It's going on mute.
Apparently, we're at home, Simon, so it's not at the City Ground unless there's a replay. Is that a thing?
He's just sent a picture of his feet.
Is he good? John Lewis says Alex is a perfect taxi driver and knows exactly where he's going. I'll be honest, John. The second I dropped you off, I got lost. So there you go.
That's less than we see a Bruce normally when he gets the camera angle out and the shorts on.
It's more than I want to see a Bruce.
Yeah, exactly. Both of them. There we go. I don't know anything else we need to talk about. Are we promptly wrapping this up after an hour?
Well, we're missing.
Are you both coming to Milton Keynes then? Are you both coming to Milton Keynes then? Are we having a pod day out or night out?
Yeah, Milton Keynes in Oxford, mate. That's my plans.
I'm going to be skint.
Two games in a week, mate. Bloody hell!
All right.
He's going to be exhausted. He's going to be asking for
there. And then when I'm at bloody Slough, hiya Sam, you're all right.
Well, that was the thing. We were stood near him, and he didn't want to come. He didn't even turn around until I had to be all about him.
He doesn't. He's a shit house.
Jack brought a random Australian man to the game as well, who put all of us to shame. All us Northerners should have been ashamed. He was there in his shorts and t-shirt. Which was
did the man know he was coming to the game, or was he just accosted and taken along to the game?
I don't think he likes blue.
Is this the 10 minutes at the end of the podcast where Bruce usually has a quiz for a wagon wheel or something that we're trying to
this
fill?
is usually the part after 10 minutes that Bruce gets really annoyed that we're just waffling and we should be more professional.
Excellent. Let's go. I've had enough. Want to go home.
Mysteriously, a picture of an Indian takeaway appears in the WhatsApp group about 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
Oh, love an Indian takeaway. What did you have for lunch, Mike? Did you have a roast?
No. Here, I've got a story now, right? So
hang on.
No, don't do that because you won't hear the story.
This might go, doesn't it, Alex?
So this is a good story. So I'm on my way back from the cricket with my lad. He's been to cricket training this morning. And we thought, what should we have for lunch? We thought, we'll pop in Asda and get a cooked chicken. So we went to cooked chicken counter. £9.50 for a cooked chicken. I said, you can fuck off. We went home and we had ham sandwiches.
Hang on, where did you get this cooked chicken from?
We didn't get it because it was £9.50. But from
what
Asda,
shop was it?
Purley Way, Asda.
Do you not have? Isn't there a Costco nearby?
No.
Oh, come on, you've got to have a Costco nearby. Well, Costco Sutton.
Costco Southern Macro.
I was on my way back. Oh no, I'd gone to DFS as well. I'd gone to look for a new
sofa.
Look,
there's a Costco in Croydon. I
don't live in Croydon, mate.
Yeah, but you were saying on Purley Way. Purley War Memorial Hospital's nearby.
Well, it might well be, but it ain't got a cooked chicken.
It does. Costco's do the best cooked chickens there are, and they're like.
I'll be ready for the pearly gates. This conversation carries on. Bloody hell!
Well, you look like you're ready for the pearly gates. You need an early night and a water bottle. Look at him.
Oh, he burnt you there, Sam. That was awful. See, that was a terrible burn. Yeah, and you look tired. Yeah. Get yourself a Costco card. Right,
so
anyway.
I had a ham sandwich, mate, because I won't pay £9.50 for bloody cooked chicken down here. The South, I tell you. The
I'm
Frenchman,
questioning.
the bloody
hang on.
Frenchman as well.
I'm questioning this because an extra large tasty chicken cooked in Asda in Farnborough is £6.50.
All right, well, I wasn't going to travel to bloody Farnborough, was I?
Yeah, but it's the same shop. You're
Yeah, but you
saying that
have
the
to-
It's
chicken's
not
got
that
London
big.
weight
It's a
in it.
different one.
You have to pay fuel to get there, though, don't you?
No, but are you saying that the chickens in Purley have got like some sort of London weighting attached to them?
Right, now, if you want to actually get into the nuts and bolts of it, I think it's done by size. And by the time we got there, there was only
don't want
certain
nuts and
sizes
bolts
left.
in my roast. I don't want nuts and bolts in my roast chicken, mate. That sounds disgusting. Teeth wouldn't
It's-
cope with it.
It's done by square footage of the chicken, I think.
How big was this chicken?
We're still
No,
running
it's
up and down the
Chicken in
fucking
Cr-
shop.
It was the biggest
Andrew
chicken in Britain.
Andrew Matthews is desperately trying to drag us back to football. Scotland are winning. No one cares about Scotland, Andrew. Everyone more cares about roast chickens.
So there's a
How many
story.
people are still listening? We're down to about 14.
Well, I'm
hang
not
on.
listening, and I'm here.
Hang on, I'll find out for you. 84.
There you go. Well, 13 people have not had the pleasure of the cooked chicken story.
Exactly. But there we go. It's Costco chicken. I assume that's the new shall we let everyone else decide what should we call the podcast, because I struggle with it every week. What should it be called? I'm going with Costco chicken. Anything from anyone else? Anyone from who's listening and who's actually made it to the end? Maybe we should start doing this as a regular feature. You get to name the podcast.
G, apparently.
G.
What a name. What a name. Ben Bristow said G.
I assume he said GG. Good game. Anything from you guys? Any creative thoughts on what we could call the podcast?
Any creative thoughts from us?
Mm.
You know it's me and Sam, right? There's not been a creative thought between us ever.
Dirty snot rags, says John.
Hang on a
Lewis.
second. I sometimes have to get a bit creative when I'm just bit creative at work on an occasion when we have to defend certain policies.
Oh, it's you to
Early
blame for the
days.
creativeness, is it?
Sorry, mate. Didn't
It's
hear
you we can blame for all that creativeness.
that. I don't work for
Sounds-
CCHQ.
No, but they do have a Greg's.
Oh, I should have gone to Greg, shouldn't I?
They've got a Greg's in CCHQ in Cheltenham. Did you know that? It's amazing. Sam's like, if I say anything, do I breach the Official Secrets Act?
I don't know. I don't work at CCHQ.
Oh, I just like the idea that people at Greg's have to be vetted, which is quite funny.
Can I have a CRB with your steak bake, please, sir?
Yeah, exactly.
I know someone who works at Greg's. Maybe I can get him repost it down to the CCHQ one if it does actually exist. That'd be quite funny.
It does exist. It does.
I don't
What's
work at
up, bro?
CCHQ, mate. So I don't know how many times I need to repeat this. I don't work at CCHQ. If I carry on like that, people think I actually do.
Well, it's every week, mate. You know, we're just,
There we go.
still
CCHQ has
on?
a Greg's. Yes, we are.
CCHQ
Right,
is
okay.
Conservative Campaign Headquarters, for those of you who don't know. Just
Oh, sorry, I got confused. I thought you meant GCHQ. Oh, sorry.
I did notice that, but I thought, well, let's just let
Sorry.
it ride and we can get away
Let
quickly.
the old
without-
man. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do a Sam segment.
why would
called-
I be talking about GCHQ, Alex?
I don't know. I wasn't really listening to the beginning of the conversation, to be perfectly honest.
So we've learned we have a basic problem with simple alphabet here.
Alpha, we nearly had a problem
Alpha-
saying it then.
Alphabet.
Alpha.
Well, you've stopped me
Anyway,
saying plethora. So
that's true. Right. Look,
So we-
we're dying. Sam, what were you going to say?
A list of words next week that whether we can use them or not. Because I quite like using like longer words. Just
I'll tell you something. The one thing we didn't talk about is Sam. What was your opinion of the Palestinian flag at the Forest Green game, which I thought was very weird?
It was a surprise when it turned up. And on that note, I don't wish to get into this debate.
It was the at least the keeper's shape flag wouldn't have been as controversial as usual.
could those lawyers come back?
Have the lawyers come back? No, Sam is though. Anyway, see you all later. Have a lovely time. Look after each other. Don't venture into the Middle East. And we shall see you all next week. Just general safety tips, really, more than anything. We're here to help support you have a safe and pleasant week. We would suggest probably not watching a town game if you want a safe and pleasant week. Mike.
I was just going to say, if anybody finds a cooked chicken at Asda cheaper than £9.50, can you tweet me? Thanks.
Yes, please do. Let's send it in. And get a Costco card, Mike. Decent chickens. And can I just say, actually, before we go, thank you to everyone who has ordered a print or some stickers. Slightly overwhelmed by how many people have asked for them. We have printed the vast majority. We do need some more ink, so I'm just waiting on that to be delivered tomorrow, and then we'll get your orders out. At the moment, it's 25% off, so it's like £7.50 for an A4 print. So if you'd like to do so, we'll put it in the link on the podcast if you're downloading it. And all proceeds go to currently paying off the exorbitant price I paid for the printer, and then after that, it'll go on beers, and we'll go for a drone, shall we? Let's get a drone.
Just for Alex, because there's no danger of Alex like Sam ever buying a pint.
Funding the pod Belingo.
John Lewis says, "Cook your own fucking chickens, you lazy twat."
Have you not seen the price of electricity caused by the war in Ukraine and rising global energy prices? These days it costs. This is like some weird thing that it. No, look, if you look at the graph of the kind of economic.
Graph.
Oh, Sam.
The list just. Anyway, let's go. That's enough
Graph.
of that.
He's on about graphs. Can we go?
Yeah. See you later, guys. Bye. Thank you very much for listening.
Bye.
We're sorry. The last 10 minutes was shit.
Open wide for some soccer!
And now the shipping forecast issued by the Met Office on behalf of the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency at 1130. Go! At 1130.
I don't think I've ever wanted to be on a stand more than my life running there. They're going crazy. Hey, they got a penalty here. There'll be fish flying about there. There's no tomorrow.
What a magnificent piece of football! A really, really good goal. You can't make it straight like that.